Hello and welcome to assetyogi.com. This is Mukul and in this video I will explain about circle rate. What it is, why is it required and how is it different from market rate. Make sure that you watch the entire length so that you don't miss on some useful tips shared in this video. Let's get to it then.
When you buy a property, sometimes it gets confusing to understand the concept of circle rate and whether the property should be registered at circle rate or the market rate. In this video, I will explain the concept of circle rate in detail and clear all your doubts related to it. Now let us take an example. Suppose a seller A is willing to sell this property for rupees 1 crore and B agrees to purchase this property for rupees 1 crore. Then buyer B will transfer rupees 1 crore to A and A will give the possession of this property to B. So he will hand over the possession of the property to B. Now legally, for the ownership to get transferred from A to B, a sale deed has to be signed between A and B. And this sale deed has to be registered at the sub-registrar's office for it to have legal validity. Generally, the buyer pays for the stamp duty plus registration charges at the sub-registrar's office. The stamp duty varies from state to state and generally the stamp duty ranges between 3 to 9% across states and registration charges are another 1% of the sale value. So total the buyer has to pay 4 to 10% stamp duty plus registration charges of property value. Now for stamp duty and registration purposes, the whole question is how do you determine this property value? Because as per the state government, the property value is determined by the circle rate for stamp duty and registration charges, whereas market value is determined by the supply and demand for that kind of property in that locality. So market value is determined by supply and demand and circle rate is determined by the state government depending on their surveys and the kind of infrastructure and facilities in the locality. And market value is a dynamic value that depends on the market forces, whereas circle rate is not a dynamic value and it is updated periodically by the state government. Since the circle rate is not updated frequently, it generally lags the market value. Now if the buyer B agrees to purchase the property from seller A at market rate, then he can as well pay the stamp duty at market value. Then why do we need a circle rate? Let us understand this concept. Let's consider two cases here. Suppose in case 1, let's say the market value of the property is rupees 1 crore and the buyer pays 100% payment with check or online transfer. And let's say the stamp duty in the state is 4% and registration charges are another 1%. So the total charges at the rate of 5% will be rupees 5 lakhs. So in this case there is no complication because the buyer has paid 100% payment with check and online transfer and all of it is trackable. So the buyer pays the stamp duty plus registration charges of rupees 5 lakhs to the state government. Now let's consider another case. Suppose the buyer agrees to buy this property for rupees 1 crore, but in this case let's say he pays 30 lakhs by check whereas he pays 70 lakhs in cash. So this 70 lakhs which is paid in cash is not accounted and generally it is called as black money that all of us are aware. So the buyer and seller would agree to declare the value of 30 lakhs in the sale deed. So stamp duty plus registration charges in this case again at the rate of 5% will be charged on 30 lakhs only. So in this case the government will get only rupees 1.5 lakhs. So it's a loss of rupees 3.5 lakhs to the government. So to avoid such a loss, the government came up with the concept of circle rate and they said that the property has to be registered at a minimum of circle rate that is declared for that particular area. So circle rate is the minimum price below which a property cannot be registered. Generally a state government will divide a particular city in number of zones depending on the infrastructure and facilities available in the areas and the prices prevailing in those areas. So circle rates for all these zones will be notified by the government for various types of buildings and land. Now, as I said earlier, circle rates are not updated so frequently. Probably they will be updated in 1 year or 2 years or sometimes 3 years. So they will generally lag the market value. Now, coming back to our example, let's say the state has updated the circle rate for this particular area, and let's say the circle rate is rupees 1 crore. Then in this case, the stamp duty will be charged at 1 crore rupees only, and the buyer will have to shell out rupees 5 lakhs. Although the state governments try to update the circle rates in line with the market value, but there can be situations where circle rate can be less than the market value, and sometimes circle rate can be more than the market value. So let's see what happens in those kind of situations. Suppose in our earlier example, let's say the market value of the same property has increased to rupees 1.5 crores, and let's say the circle rate in that area remains at rupees 1 crore. So in this case, the buyer has to pay the stamp duty on the higher of the two value. So the stamp duty plus registration, let's say at the rate of 5%, will be rupees 7.5 lakhs. But since in this case the circle rate is only rupees 1 crore, the buyer and seller may agree to show the transaction value as rupees 1 crore, and the buyer can pay the balance 50 lakhs in cash. Since in this case the transaction value shown in the sale deed is only rupees 1 crore, so they will pay stamp duty plus registration charges at the rate of 5%, which will be rupees 5 lakhs. So again in this case there is a loss of rupees 2.5 lakhs to the state government. So in such cases, when the market value is more than the circle rate, the buyer and seller both have incentives to undervalue the property, because the buyer saves on the stamp duty and registration charges. For example, in this case the buyer would save rupees 2.5 lakhs. On the other hand, the seller saves on the capital gains tax, because he is going to show a lesser sale value in the sale deed. Now in some cases there can be other complications when circle rate becomes more than the market value in certain places. Suppose in the same example the circle rate of the property remains rupees 1 crore, and let's say the market value due to market conditions drops to rupees 70 lakhs. Then this can be a difficult situation for both buyer and seller. Suppose they show the transaction value as 70 lakhs in the sale deed, then they will still have to pay the stamp duty and registration charges at the higher of the two values, that is rupees 1 crore. So the stamp duty and registration charge at the rate of 5% will be rupees 5 lakhs. Whereas if the circle rate was in line with the market value, the buyer would have to pay stamp duty and registration charges only on 70 lakh rupees, which will be rupees 3.5 lakhs. So in this case the buyer will have to shell out rupees 1.5 lakhs extra. So this is a buyer loss of rupees 1.5 lakhs. Similarly, it will have complications for the seller also, because the seller will have to pay capital gains tax on the higher of the two value, that is the market value and the assessed value by the stamp duty authorities as per the Income Tax Act. So the seller will have to take the sale value as rupees 1 crore. Therefore, he will have to shell out a higher capital gains tax in that case. Although this is a complicated situation, in such cases you can appeal to sub-registrar, stating your case that you don't agree with the circle rate and stamp duty and registration charges shall be charged at the actual market value only, and circle rates are not in line with the market rate. But this option can take some time, and the registration of sale deed will be pending till you get a response from Deputy Commissioner. So if you are planning to take a home loan, then this will be a hurdle, because banks would insist on registration of sale deed for mortgage purposes. Now different states have different variations of the circle rate. In some states it is called as guideline value. Then in some states it can be called as guidance value, like in Karnataka. Then in Maharashtra it is called as ready reckoner rate. But the purpose of all these rates and values are the same as circle rate. Since circle rates and these guideline values are not updated so frequently, they always lag behind the market value. Perhaps we will have to deal with such complexities till the government finds a solution to parking of black money in real estate. Once this problem is solved, then maybe we may not need the concept of circle rate or guideline value etc. at all. Ideally, we should be paying stamp duty and registration charges at actual transaction value. provided there is no unaccounted money that is changing hands between the buyer and the seller. I hope that after watching this video, you now understand the concept of circle rate and how it differs from market value.
I hope you liked this video. Give a thumbs up if you liked. Also leave your comments below for any future video suggestions. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss out on our latest informative videos just like this. What are you waiting for? Please subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.